I'm Gary Rebholz. I'm the training manager for Sony Creative Software, and I'm going to take you on a tour of the new features of Acid Pro 7. So let's get started. Let me open up another project here and talk about a couple of other new features. This is just a simple drum beat project at 120 beats per minute. Okay, very simple. Now, one of the things we've done is we've enhanced the beat mapper for Acid Pro 7. The beat mapper is the tool that enables you to embed tempo, pitch, and time signature information into a file so that it matches to this setting right here, or I should say this group of settings, the project tempo, the project signature, and the project key. And in previous versions of Acid Pro, we were able to embed just one set of information. And so what would happen is, if you had a piece of music whose tempo changed in the middle of it, it would not be able to conform to the project tempo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this project. This track 2 here contains a track that starts out at 120, which matches the project tempo. But in about measure 9, I think it changes tempo. And since there's no beat mapper information for that tempo change, you're going to hear sort of a train wreck. Okay, so the song matches the project tempo perfectly as it starts out, but what you'll hear at measure 9 is that the tempo that's inherent in this file on track 2 changes. And now we've got a mess. Okay? What we can do is we can go to the clip properties for that track, and let me just drag this up so you can see it a little bit better. Go to the stretch properties, and here we see that original tempo of 120. And what I can do is to play in a loop, play these measures. So let me play measure 8. And you can count along with measure 8, and you can, by counting, you can tell that it's a perfect measure. But when we go to measure 9, you can see that it's no longer a perfect 4-beat measure. So the tempo has changed, but the beat mapper information hasn't been added to show that. But what we can do is to insert a beat mapper marker. And what this essentially does, let me zoom in a little bit here, it essentially separates these beat mapper markers that come before the tempo change and these ones, so that I can now adjust the ones that come after it. So I'm going to play it. I'm going to watch my cursor and count along to locate the end of the measure. So it's right there, is where that measure actually ends. So all I need to do is to change my markers here a little bit. And now I've got a nice solid measure. So you can see that what I've done is I've added more beat mapper information. I can add as many of those as I need. In fact, I could take an old recording that was recorded in the 30s not to a click track and go through it measure by measure if I wanted to and make it conform to the beat. Now what's important about that is that this now becomes a very valuable tool for doing remixes, because now when I play this project, again, it works perfectly in the beginning like it did before, but when it hits measure 9, where before it all fell apart on me, with that new beat mapper information in there now, it's going to play along just fine. And so now it works just perfectly. So the point is, if I'm a remixer and I'm trying to mash 2 songs together, I can use this beat mapper information to make sure that I've got perfect sync to the project tempo. Let's talk about those tempo changes a little bit. I've got another project here, and you can see that I've got 3 tempo changes in this project. It starts out at 85 beats per minute, changes to 70 beats per minute, and then to 100 beats per minute. Now what I want to point out is that as this is playing, notice that the project tempo stays at 85. This is the model of previous versions of Acid, where it'll stay at that tempo until it hits this next marker. Let me scoot it ahead a little bit. And watch, when it hits that marker, the project tempo will jump instantly to 70 beats per minute. And then when it hits the 100 beats per minute, it'll jump instantly to the 100 beats per minute. So keep your eye here. Okay, and there it goes. Now what we've done is we've added the ability to add tempo curves into this project, so that if I want it to ramp down from 85 gradually till it gets to 70, all I need to do is to right-click on that tempo marker and say, I want a different transition type. Hold is what we've been seeing, where it just holds steady until it hits the next marker. But let's say I want it to slowly ramp down until it hits 70. Now watch when I play. Notice that the project tempo is changing as it goes along. And as it gets closer to that 70 tempo marker, you'll feel it start to slow down. And I can do the same thing with the 70 marker as well. So this is how I can build in my retards, into natural feeling retards into my song, or accelerandos and so forth. And so that's a real nice enhancement to the software. Now let's let this play through, and you'll see that it goes up to, starts ramping back up to 100 beats per minute. Speeding up until it gets to 100, and then it starts the new section. So that gives you a little taste of the new features of Acid Pro 7. If you want more information, we've got all kinds of information for you available on the website at www.sonycreativesoftware.com.